Hello and welcome to the Big Ideas Art Studio. My name is Nicole and today I'm going to show you how I use art numbers to streamline classroom management, assessment, and providing choice. So as you can see behind me, I have a list of centers. So each one of my centers is magnetized, and what I do is as I open a center, I put the magnet on the chalkboard. If a center is closed, I take the magnet down. So whenever a student comes into the classroom, they know immediately what their options are for that day. So each student that comes into my classroom has an art number, and they use that art number to find their seats. They use that art number to find their spots in line. I use vinyl stickers to indicate those spots, and then each student also has a magnet with their art number on it. So they use their number magnet to indicate what center they are choosing for the day. So if they're drawing, they would drop their magnet here to show that that's where they're working. This way, if there's a limit on one of the centers, for example, when I open printmaking, I have a really hard, firm limit of 6 people at the printmaking center at a time. So this way, I'm able to keep track of how many, and also the students are able to keep track of how many students are at that center as well. So they're able to look and see, oh, there's 6 people at the printmaking center, it's closed, or whatever that number may be. So I also use these magnets for a self-assessment. So on their way to line up when they're leaving the classroom, all of the numbers would be over here, indicating their center for the day. On their way to line up, I would have them move their magnet back to this reset section, but I would have them put it in a certain section to indicate their level of understanding for the day. So right now I have 3 sections. I typically leave it at 3, sometimes there's more, but most of the time it's 3. And I just use tape or a marker to section this off. So right now I have 1, 2, and 3, and that's our grading system. So we don't have ABC or O, S, U, nothing like that. We use 1, 2, and 3. So if I were having them give themselves a grade, they would take their magnet and move it into the section that indicates their grade. Now, most of the time, the majority of my students give themselves the highest grade, which I'm okay with. Most of my students are achieving that high level. But what I do when I am putting this information into my grade book, I only put in the outliers. So I immediately put this into my grade if it's something that I'm grading. I don't always grade my formative assessments, but if it is something that I'm recording, I only put these numbers in, okay? That way, it only takes me a couple of seconds, quick, easy at the end of class, and when I go back in to put in the rest of my grades, I know that the rest of the kiddos that I haven't recorded yet were here at the top section. Now, you might be wondering about this bottom section here. This is essentially failing for us, so I never record this as a grade. If I have a student down here, that's something that I need to address way before I put it in the grade book. So I also use these magnets to keep track of where students are in the building. So I have a sign here for the nurse and I have a sign here for the bathroom. So if a student needs to leave to go to either one of those places, they take their magnet and drop it under the correct location. That way, if there's ever an emergency, I know exactly where my students are. Yes, I still have them ask for permission just so that I know, but it's still nice to have a visual reminder. If there's ever an emergency, I can look and I know exactly who's not in the art room. So over here, I know this is a little bit hard to see, but this is art gallery. So once we start hanging art in the hallway outside this classroom, I call it the art gallery. And it becomes an interactive space where students can go for idea generation or where they can go to leave feedback notes for artists. So I usually allow 3 people in the gallery at a time. So I have written here, and again, it's hard to see with a chalk marker 1, 2, 3. So if students are heading out into the hallway for again, idea generation purposes or to leave feedback notes, I have them move their magnet here to indicate that they're outside as well. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.